Hi, welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show, and I am Alyssa Goodman. I am so excited today to have Megan Monahan with me. She is a meditation expert. She's going to tell you her story about how she got into it. She was very, very stressed out in the music business and learned how to meditate to help her batshit crazy stress that she talks about, which we can all relate to. So welcome.
Thank
Megan.
you. I'm so happy to be here. I love
She's
an
also a
excuse
good
to talk
friend.
to you.
I know. I feel like we talk over tea.
It's amazing.
And coffee.
We've manifested this into being like an actual professional moment that we get to have. It's great.
I feel blessed.
Yeah, it's great.
I am so blessed to have the people around me that I admire and I follow and I watch and I learn from. And meditation is a huge thing right now.
It's definitely having a moment. It's very on brand right now to be a meditator. So.
And you're in the perfect time, perfect space.
Yeah.
And you got into it before it really exploded, right?
I did, not on purpose, not because I'm like a trendsetter by any means, but as you said, I was working in the music industry, and it was something that I had pursued throughout college and was very passionate about and very driven to succeed in that world. And I was definitely on track to doing what I wanted to do, and I found myself feeling so incredibly stressed, and not just feeling stressed, but having physical symptoms of stress.
And what were those?
Oh, super fun things.
Let's get
super
down
fun
and dirty.
things. I had chronic hives for about a year.
Wow.
Which are really enjoyable. And I had to get my gallbladder taken out at 22 from gallstones from stress. So when you start to lose non-vital organs, it's kind of a sign that something's not right. So I was forced to listen to my body. You know, I always joke that like I did not wake up like this. I did not like wander off of like a mountain just filled with the connection of the universe in my heart and wanting to share that message. Like I was from New York and worked in the music industry and really learned how to do this to be sane and to not have my body freak out from all of the things that were happening in my life, not just in business, but in my personal life too, and learned how to meditate to navigate that really. Once I started doing that and diving into that world, at a certain point within about a year, it became really hard to take my job in music as seriously as you kind of need to take it in order to survive working how many hours or getting paid whatever. You know, it's not an easy world to work in. And as much as I still loved that conversation around music and the business of music and all of that, and that felt fulfilling, the actual work, I had a hard time. I just wanted to run around like talking about my soul and like how to meditate, and that doesn't translate as well when you're getting paid to like track Beyonce's ticket counts in Spain. Right,
exactly. I'm sure it helped in some regard. It kind of band-aided the stress and all of that, and made you better at your job to some degree, but it really wasn't filling your heart.
Yeah, I definitely felt that sort of spark when I started diving into this whole other world and really immersing in it. And it was just that feeling almost of remembering something that I had just forgotten, that I hadn't quite taken in this life. And I think we've all had feelings like that, whether it's with something with our job or something else. And once I had that, I was lucky enough that I was young and not so far up in my career that it was super hard to leave in terms of like money or a life that I had created. So I did. So I quit my job, and now this is what I do.
So when you took that dive into the whole meditation world and learned how to be a meditation teacher, one of the best, by the way, how did you do that? How did you learn? Where did you go?
Yeah, so I learned how to meditate with Deepak Chopra at his wellness center. So while I was in music, I went down there and spent a full week immersing. I did Panchakarma, which is this really amazing Ayurvedic cleanse.
Love that.
Filled with lots of fantastic and slightly weird techniques, but amazing for rebalancing yourself. I learned how to meditate. I did yoga. I learned about Ayurveda. Really started integrating all those tools into my life. Once I quit and then I did a couple other programs as well before I quit my job. And then when I quit my job, I ended up just effortlessly manifesting a job with him, and I moved to San Diego. It's one of my most impressive, like, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, one of my most impressive manifestations. And I ended up working for his wellness center full time. I moved down to San Diego County and worked there for about 3 years. And that's when I got certified to teach meditation and really worked on myself. Really like did my work on a personal level, which I'm so thankful for as a teacher, because I think it's really tempting when you get certified to teach something or you feel compelled to share it, to want to share it before you've really handled yourself. you know?
That's big.
And I think it's such a disservice to your students if I'm processing stuff on stage while I'm trying to help you process stuff at a certain level, I don't feel like that's me being a responsible teacher.
Right.
So as much as we're always evolving and always growing, and I mean, we're never done, right?
Right.
I'm really thankful that I moved away from my life essentially for 3 years and lived in this bubble of wellness where I was really able to focus on that.
I'm a little jealous.
It was great. It was great.
At this moment.
It was great. Yeah, and then I moved back to LA almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been teaching full-time in LA mostly for the last several years.
The last 5 years, you've been teaching at Wonderlist, which is
Wonderlust.
ongoing classes at Wonderlist.
Yeah, classes at Wonderlust. I teach at their festivals, which has been a great experience. Unplugged Meditation. I found them very synchronistically before Susie Yalof-Schwartz, the founder of Unplugged, which is the first drop-in meditation studio in the world.
In the world?
Yeah, I think it's so cool that we have that here. There are so many places now, thankfully, that are popping up as these only meditation studios. But yeah, Unplugged was the first one. So I sort of synchronistically found her and started teaching there. I'm really thankful.
Isn't she opening another one as well?
Yeah,
another
in West
location?
Hollywood.
Oh, I
which
love
is
it.
very exciting.
Yeah,
very
that is exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, I teach at studios here and then privately and anywhere else.
So what is it about how can you tell people out there who are a little intimidated about meditation how to get into it? What's an easy way to get into it, or kind of a little bit the nuts and bolts?
Yeah. There are two things that I always hear when people ask me about meditation, and I seem to always find myself talking about it, even when I want to talk about something else. People are always like, oh, you teach meditation. Let me ask you, right? So I always have this conversation, which is great.
Right.
And people always say, the first thing they always say is, I can't meditate, I have too many thoughts.
Right.
First
That's
thing.
a big one.
I can't meditate, I have too many thoughts. I can't silence my mind. I can't stop my thoughts. To which I always reply, that's great, because A, that's impossible. And B, the minute that you have stopped your thoughts, you probably have a whole other situation with your pulse going on that we need to talk about. Because as long as you're alive, as long as your brain is active, you're going to have thoughts. There's this line that started about silencing your mind and silencing the thoughts. And it's just not true and impossible. So don't set yourself up to think that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I hear is, I don't think it's working. And nothing's happening. And so I always remind people that nothing needs to happen in your actual meditation, right? That's the practice. That's when you're practicing, essentially building the muscle of awareness of noticing your thoughts. Because that's what you're doing. You're practicing stepping away from the thoughts long enough that you can remember that you're not your thoughts, you're the thinker of the thought.
Interesting.
You know, you're not your thoughts. Best news ever.
Right.
That's the best thing that anyone has ever told me. You are not your thoughts.
I've never heard that, really.
Well, thank God, because I have a ton of insane thoughts.
Right.
Or limiting thoughts, or conditioned thoughts, or negative thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're the thinker of the thought. You're the watcher, right? The witness. And so every time you meditate,
you step back and
whether you're kind of focusing on your breath or using a mantra, you're continuing to watch the thoughts come in. And when they do come in, you carry yourself back to whatever that point of focus is. And when it drifts away again, you notice that it's drifting and you bring yourself back. And as you get better and better at that, you're able to do that out in the street where things are actually happening in your life. So when you are running around and having an insane day, or whether there's a stimulus that comes into your life that's not feeling so great, you have a minute to say, wow, I'm thinking this about whatever's happening. Like I'm having a really negative thought, or I'm feeling really sad, or I'm feeling, that's so interesting. And you get to kind of just create a space between you and the thought, you and the feeling, and then decide how you want to engage instead of just having the same thoughts every day and acting in the same ways.
And engaging where it's maybe not as profitable for you, or it just doesn't do anything for you. It just stresses you out even more.
Exactly. We're used to just following our mind wherever it wants to take us, which, for me, at least, isn't usually the place where everyth's working out great.
No.
Right? When I future pace and go into the future, I'm never sitting around on a, whatever day worrying about how great everything is going to work out. And I don't know how I'm going to handle it when all that money comes in, and that's going to be, what about all these opportunities that are definitely coming in? How am I going to choose? And what am I going to do when all these men want to propose to me? How am I going to pick one? Right? Nobody's ever worrying about how great everything's working out.
Right. They're worried about the bad.
They're worrying about what could possibly happen in a negative way.
Right.
But both of those things are equally nuts. Those future moments don't exist yet. You're making them up in your mind.
Right.
Right.
And that's what causes anxiety and depression and all of those things.
So the more you can notice your mind before you follow it, the more it's a choice. And it doesn't mean you're always going to make the right choice. I definitely go down the rabbit hole sometimes. But I think at a certain point when you know better, you end up doing better because you really can't sort of stomach yourself, right? Like when I start having those thoughts, I know that I'm engaging and indulging in like a negative thing or in a whatever thing.
Right.
And at a certain point, I can only stomach doing that so long before I'm like, listen, Megan, you need to like get your shit together and like come back.
So the more you practice that, the more you realize, like you said, you know, you kind of go, oh, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay in this place.
Yeah.
I want to be back in the calm place. I always kind of say
back in the
calm.
present. And back in the present.
So that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
It's all about being present.
We spend so little time
huge,
here.
right?
Yeah. We spend so much time thinking about the things that have already happened or thinking about the things that might possibly happen.
Right.
And again, both of those places, are not real. Right? There's no energy in either of those places unless you're taking it there, unless you're carrying it from the past or kind of projecting it into the future. None of those places are real. There's no time there. You can't go there. Right? Like this moment is the only moment we have, right? You're the most important thing in the world to me because you're literally the only thing that's real right now.
Right.
Right? No
Exactly.
pressure.
That was so much pressure. Oh my
no
God,
pressure.
I'm real.
No
Am I
pressure.
really real?
You're the most important thing in my life right now.
Right.
Right? So when you start meditating, you can be more present because you notice when your mind tries to take you back or forward.
Right.
Right? And then it's a choice.
So people say there's all these different time limits to meditation. And I think that's probably kind of crazy, but there's, let's do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What's that all about? You know, what do people need to know about a time limit? Or is there any, or should they even put a time limit on it?
So, I mean, anything is better than nothing.
Right.
Right? Like 5 minutes of walking is better than nothing.
True.
20 minutes is better than 5,
Right.
right? An hour is better than 20, depending on what it is, right?
Yeah.
So with meditation, anything is better than nothing. If you can take 47 seconds and breathe and come back to the moment, that's great. If you can take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, that's great too. I don't want to say better, but that's great too. It usually takes your mind around 8 to 10 minutes to initially kind of get the idea.
Oh, I didn't realize that either.
Kind of like a little kid, you know, that's like tugging at the bottom of your skirt, like, mom, you know, and you're like, hold on one second. That's kind of what your mind is doing when you initially start to meditate. Your mind is used to having your undivided attention.
Right.
You never say to your mind, you know, I
Just
see you
wait.
with that thought. Just hold on one second. I'm going to keep doing this present moment thing, but I'll come back to you in a minute. Your mind just gets your attention.
Right.
Whenever it wants it, which is constantly. So when you sit and meditate, it's essentially telling that mind, telling that little kid, like, hold on one second, I hear you, I'll come back to you. Like, I'm just gonna take a minute here.
Yeah.
It takes around 8 minutes for your mind to kind of go sit in the other room for a second.
Oh, okay.
Again, not that you're not having those thoughts, but
Right.
for it to not be so like, hey,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So if you can meditate a little bit longer, you'll start to feel a
More
little
relaxed.
bit more of that sort of, if you want to call it a sense of stillness or a little bit of that internal quieting down, you'll start to
Feel that.
feel that a little more.
So what do you think about all these meditation apps out there that are on the
So
market?
many. I think, wow, you
It's
really
overwhelming.
should have like designed one of those 5 years ago.
You should-
Megan.
exactly.
That's my first thought. My second thought is, do any of them want me to work? No. I
Take
think,
over some of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're great. I think a lot of people don't have the privilege of living in Los Angeles
Yeah.
or New York, where there's 4 or 5 meditation studios that just do meditation
Yeah.
for every level. That's a crazy privilege that we have, you know, the luxury to access.
Right.
People that live in LA maybe can't afford to spend $20 to go meditate,
Do a
right?
class.
So I think apps and books and, you know, content online all are really important to make it a widespread, a very much available and accessible tool for people, because I think everyone needs to do it.
Do you have a favorite one at all? Or is that hard to? Yeah. Okay. You don't
I
need
like.
to.
I mean, I like
You don't
Mindful.
really- yeah.
I've tried Mindful. I like
Okay.
Mindful. There's one. I think it's the Calm app where it like you do it with the breath, and
I
there's a
have the Calm
shape
app.
that is it the shape
Yeah,
that like goes in and out.
exactly.
I think that's cool. I like that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one. Unplug has an app
Oh, they do.
that has meditations. I
Okay.
might be on it. No big deal.
I love that. If you're
yeah.
on it, I'm listening to
Yeah,
it.
Unplug has some. Unplug has an app with meditations online. I think those are a great entry point.
You do personal clients. You go to
I
people's
do.
homes and you
Yeah.
teach them, which I think is so.
It's so fun.
Oh, I bet.
It's so fun.
And then you get to see the changes in these people, like real physical, mental changes.
Yeah.
Can you mention some of those changes that you see in some of these people?
Yeah, it's such a privilege for me to like even be a little bit of a part of someone's journey and to be able to be a witness to that kind of shift, because I know how much this practice helped me and literally transformed me mentally, physically, emotionally, like all of the ways. So yeah, it's so great. And what's nice about working one-on-one with someone is that I get to really kind of tailor the content to them.
Yeah, personally.
So, you know, we talk about the same sort of set of information with whoever I am, you know, talking to, but if you're dealing with A, B, and C, like we can spend a little more time like zoning in on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see shifts. The first thing I usually see is shifts in people's stress, you know, and how much importance they place on certain things in their life. The shift between having your sense of okay be an external thing and moving to an internal thing, I think is one of the biggest ones, because we're so defined by all these roles that we play and all these material expressions of who we are. And every time we jump into one of those roles, it's like we're kind of plugging in and getting a little bit of a charge. And that's great, you know, and hopefully the roles in your life do give you that charge, but if you're not, charge. Yeah, it feels good, hopefully. But if you're not also a source of that for yourself, you know, running around looking for outlets to plug into can get a little dangerous.
That's so true.
Can get a little
I didn't
dangerous.
realize that, because most people do that.
Yeah, and you look for, you know, the job, the relationship, the margarita, the shoes, like whatever it is that you're needing, you look outside of yourself for it, and hopefully you find it and it's a healthy expression, but it's really important to be able to plug into you. You know, you become your own kind of constant source. It's like having one of those iPhone cases that is charging your phone all the time. Right? Like you become your own charge. And then you lose the attachment to all these things that sometimes exist in an unhealthy way. Right? So if my relationship is what I really like ground my self-worth in, and that relationship ends, like I don't know who I am now. And that's not okay. But if that ends and I, you know, have to navigate through that, but I also am connected to who I am, it's not so much a, you know, make or break identity crisis
in your life
type of thing. So that's one of the first things that I see from people is that shift from being their own source of okay, creating their own sort of comfort zone internally.
That's huge.
Which is huge.
Because that sort of goes out beyond just mindfulness and like stress, but it goes into health, like what I do. I mean, if someone is really stressed and those health issues pop up, so it really can just filter into all areas of their life. Is there anyone you've ever tried to teach meditation to and it just didn't happen?
Didn't work?
I don't know. I want to.
I don't think so.
Okay, so everyone that
I mean, well, I'm a very good teacher, Alyssa. No, I think as long as
you have this power,
I have a my very like soothing meditation voice. No, I think as long as you're able to invite in the idea that nothing needs to happen during your meditation, that there's no good or bad meditation, as long as you're graded, as long as you're doing it, as long as you show up and sit there and do it and then leave, like you've done it. You've had a successful meditation. I think that's where people get stuck. They get really attached to the experience and what it needs to feel like and look like, and it's not
certain
that
outcome that they're trying to
and
achieve.
again, the outcome isn't happening in this room. Nothing's happening. You know, we're practicing. This is the practice field. The game is out in your life when you get triggered by a text, when you are running late, when whatever it is. You know, that's how you start to respond differently. In your life, that's the sign that your meditation is working. So as long as you can let go of the all too often very Western mind of like, this is what needs to happen and this is the outcome and this is the result, the very sort of results driven element that shows up from our ego, as long as you can let that go and sit and do it, there's no way to not do it correctly.
Not any way to not succeed in that.
Unless you're just, the only way to not meditate well is to not meditate.
Not meditate
That's
at
it.
all.
That's it. You know? So I've taught people that didn't keep meditating, but no.
So what do you see for yourself in the future, moving forward in all of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Should we meditate on that and then come back to me? No, I'm really, you know, I taught, I'm an ambassador with Lululemon, and I was in London earlier this year, and I taught at their flagship store in London. And that was really fun. That was really like exciting and fun for me. I would love to teach more internationally and create more
London
opportunities
really
to do that.
would be a good
London,
market.
there were like 45, 50 people that came. And I'm like, you don't know me. Like, why are you all here? You know?
That's really cool.
So I would love to do more of that.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm getting my act together and doing like recording some meditations, and people all the time ask me for that. And I'm always like, I'll record you one.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go because I'm just teaching all the time,
Yeah.
and I haven't made time to kind of create all that content,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely doing that.
Okay.
And I started working on a book.
Oh.
I know.
Wow.
I don't know why I'm whispering because it's not just you and I here in
It's a
this
little
room.
secret.
It's very new.
yeah,
It's
okay.
very new. I feel like I'm still like incubating
Okay.
it, but I have started writing a book.
Okay.
Which is great.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work. That takes time.
You would know.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been something that's been in my awareness for a few years. And I got approached by a publisher, and they were like, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I said, I have. And I'm not going to, it's not a good fit with that publisher, but that was enough of a spark to get me actually like physically. I'm very New York in that way. I really, if you tell me, I want you to do this and you have like 5 days, like I'll do it. But if you're like, what would be a great idea for you someday to do? Like this thing. I won't do it.
It plants.
I
in
need
your
like
mind.
I need a action item.
Yeah.
My former type A needs
Same here.
needs an action item. So yeah, that's been a really exciting addition. So.
Where can people find you? All these people that want to know.
All
and
the people
that want to know more about you and
Yeah.
also want to go to your classes or hire you to come to their homes.
Yeah.
Tell them how they can find you.
Yeah, so my website, meganmonahan.com, has all of the classes that I teach each week. If anyone messages me, I'm happy to comp, a first class. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to do that. My email and everything is on there. You can sign up to get my forthcoming newsletter that will be happening soon. Instagram. I post most of my stuff on Instagram too if I'm doing special events or if there's a festival I'm teaching at, things like that, which is just at Meg Monahan. So
Well,
that's the best way.
I have to say, again.
And you need to come to a class.
I do need to
Side
come to
note.
class.
I'll comp your first class too.
Yeah. When it's in West Hollywood Unplug, I'll be
Yes,
there.
yes.
A lot. But it was such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Such a beautiful spirit, big-hearted woman that the minute I met you, I fell in love with you.
Thank you.
So just
I
want to
love
say
you.
thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Back with Megan. So honored to do a meditation with her.
Yeah. So we just talked about how everyone can meditate, how all you have to do is show up. You've done all that you need to do, which is show up. As long as you stay here for the next several minutes only, you will meditate successfully. I promise you will feel a little more calm, a little more grounded, a little more present. Okay? So get
Namaste.
comfortable, take a minute, kind of scoot back if you want to. It's really important that you're comfortable when you meditate.
Yeah.
Okay? I never want the thing taking you away to be, wow, my legs are numb. I really shouldn't have crossed them. Right? It's not that serious.
Right.
Be comfortable while you meditate.
Okay.
Okay? Once you've gotten comfortable, go ahead and gently close your eyes. And we're just going to start by taking 3 really deep breaths in. So deep inhale in through the nose, open mouth, audible exhale. Again, deep inhale in through the nose, hold for just a moment. Open mouth, exhale. Good, one more at your own pace. Deep inhale. Good, and then keeping your awareness on your breath, but letting it become relaxed. And just beginning to watch it. Maybe this is the first time all day that you've even noticed that you're breathing, that you've connected to that physical sensation that is constantly anchoring you and grounding you in this moment. So feeling that breath move in and out, noticing where in your physical body you're feeling that breath. Is it in your chest, in your abdomen? Feeling that air move in and out, feeling your body respond. And beginning to notice the space between each breath. Notice that moment after you exhale, before you take that next breath in. That moment at the top of each inhale before you exhale out. And as you breathe in and out, continuing to keep your awareness and intention on that space between. Inviting in the idea that in that space, you have access to that stillness, to that quiet that resides just beneath the surface, beneath all of the thoughts, beneath all of the turbulence in your life. Continuing to keep your awareness there. And notice that as you surrender into that space between, as you let that breath hold space for you, you're not thinking about the things that have already happened or thinking about the things that might possibly happen. You are simply here, resting in whatever state of being you're in right now, mentally, physically, spiritually. Giving yourself one more moment there. Once again, taking a deep breath in, exhaling out, releasing any tension, any tightness, any lingering stress. Being left with a reminder that you are not your thoughts, but the thinker of the thought. The reminder that at any moment you can bring yourself back to this moment, to that place within yourself that is always waiting and ready to remind you of that calm, of that quiet. And gently bringing that awareness back into your body, maybe bringing in some subtle movement in your hands, your feet. Maybe stretching your neck gently from side to side. And when it feels comfortable, allowing your eyes to float open gently. How'd that feel?
Amazing.
That was only a few minutes.
Oh my God, I feel like a different person right now. Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can bring yourself back. Oh. You know, you've always handled every single moment.
Right.
Even the ones that didn't feel like they were able to be handled.
Right.
Right? You've always handled them.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you can bring yourself back and remind yourself that you're here, you'll instantly get a little bit of that relief, I think.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic.
Good.